We begin our report with new charges from the United States government against the senior Hamas leaders involved in the October 7th attack on Israel. According to the criminal complaint from the Justice Department, Hamas's top leadership planned, supported, and praised the attacks. Attorney General Merrick Garland also noted the deaths of 6 more hostages over the weekend, including an Israeli American. Here's some of what Garland said Tuesday about the DOJ's new actions.
The charges unsealed today are just one part of our effort to target every aspect of Hamas's operations. These actions will not be our last. The Justice Department has a long memory. We will pursue the terrorists responsible for murdering Americans and those who illegally provide them with material support for the rest of their lives.
Thousands of Israeli protesters returned to the streets Tuesday, accusing their government of stalling on a ceasefire and hostage release deal with Hamas. Our Imtiaz Tayyab is in Tel Aviv with the latest. Imtiaz?
Well, John, as you can see, for a third night, Israelis have come to the center of Tel Aviv in their thousand to demand a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of the hostages, saying that Prime Minister Netanyahu is squarely to blame for the deaths of the 6 Israeli hostages in Gaza, saying that if there was a deal, they wouldn't have been killed. Now, the Prime Minister addressed the nation yesterday, where for a moment he showed some contrition, asking for forgiveness, saying that he wishes he was able to bring those murdered hostages home. And then he very quickly pivoted in saying his strategy was not going to change, and that the war in Gaza clearly wasn't going to end because, in his words, he was not going to remove Israeli forces from what's known as the Philadelphia corridor. Now, this is this narrow strip of land along the border with Egypt. Hamas has consistently said it won't accept any agreement with Israeli forces there, but Prime Minister Netanyahu saying no matter what these people say, no matter what they want, he is not going to accept a deal. And that, of course, is heartbreaking for so many people here who just want to see an end to the war in Gaza, which will mean the hostages will come home. John.
Imtiaz Tayyab in Tel Aviv. Thank you. We're grateful to be joined by Jon Alterman. He is the Senior Vice President and Director of the Middle East Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. John, good to be with you again. Let's start with these Justice Department charges against the Hamas leaders. What's the practical effect of those charges?
This, to me, is just another sign that when the Biden administration operates, it takes the whole of government approach. There's obviously an intelligence piece to this. There's a military piece. And now there's a Justice Department piece to pursuing groups like Hamas, terrorist groups all over the world. And especially after 9/11, the United States has built an increasingly robust set of tools, and now it's using them. It's really unconnected to what's happening on the ground day to day. This is a long-term effort, and it will have long-term implications.
So in terms of the day-to-day, the Washington Post and others are reporting that the White House, the president, is now planning to present a quote, take-it-or-leave-it deal on the negotiations that are ongoing with a hostage release and a ceasefire. Take it or leave it. Okay, let's say they present that, and then what? I mean, in other words, they haven't been taking the previous White House plans, so why is this going to be any different?
It seems to me that what the White House has decided to do is to stop trying to get Prime Minister Netanyahu to their side through quietly talking with him, that there will be an effort to persuade the Israeli public that this is a serious effort that the Netanyahu government has to take. And I think the White House has concluded that the only people who can persuade Prime Minister Netanyahu to act differently are his public. He's democratically elected. He's interested in staying in office. And it feels to me like this is the White House reaching out to the Israeli public, perhaps catalyzing a response in Israel because of a sense that quietly working with Prime Minister Netanyahu over 10 months, supporting him, trying to embrace him, hasn't gotten him to take the kinds of steps the United States wants him to do. In fact, the argument that was in Yediot Ahronot, one of the major Israeli newspapers today, says that Netanyahu purposely walked back the offer he had made May 7th or May 27th in order to avoid making precisely the kind of agreement that the U.S. is trying to push forward. And the death of American hostages and others is because of that.
So, John, give me your assessment of the effectiveness of that new strategy, because it appears to me that in the face of the largest protests since the October 7th attack, Netanyahu has not budged. And if anything, he's more resolute in his position.
Well, it's not yet. But I think on the one hand, Netanyahu is exquisitely sensitive to politics. The argument that some Israelis are making is Netanyahu has to choose between the survival of his coalition, many of whom oppose making concessions to get out of this war and toward an agreement, and the lives and the survival of Israeli hostages. I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't think the White House knows. I don't think Prime Minister Netanyahu knows. But it seems to me that the White House feels that doing what they're doing and have been doing and expecting a different outcome isn't going to lead to success. If the U.S. is going to stay deeply engaged, it will have to do so on a different set of premises than it's been following for the last 10 months.
And finally, John, on the Philadelphia corridor, it's the sticking point negotiations, as MTS Tayyab reported. Why is it? What is it? Why is it important? What should we know about that particular area?
It is basically the Egyptian Gaza border. There are a lot of reports that Hamas has repeatedly built tunnels under that. The American proposal, as I understand it, is we will work with the Egyptians. It will be our technology. We will make sure nobody burrows under the border, that it doesn't become a porous way to support Hamas anymore. Netanyahu says that's not good enough. There are a lot of leaks coming out of the Israeli intelligence and security establishment that say it should be good enough. We can take this deal, move on, get out of this war, get the hostages back. And Netanyahu, according to Israeli reports, is just not willing to make that deal.